What's up, everyone? This is the Sibling Trap Podcast. I'm your co host, Barry. We have Katrina, and today we're feeling fantastic. We have so much
I
to
almost
talk
believe you.
about. Almost. Fake it till you make it, right?
Oh my god. Yep,
At least we're trying to have fun and be
it's true.
joyous today. It's a Monday, so we're roughing it. Um,
Plug in my device. Do you need to plug in your device? Just got a yelling
Nope,
at me.
my laptop's all plugged up. Microphone's
Okay,
good. We are
okay,
ready. Smiles on
we're
our
ready.
faces. Hey, if you're on YouTube and you're watching and you can see us, Katie might have to switch up her devices so you'll get a second angle there, but
We're all good. We'll make it
we're
happen.
working through it. Yep. So, Katie's going to have the floor for most of this episode. Here, I'm happy. I have a lot to be thankful for. The podcast is incredibly important to me. It is super successful. I'm so thankful for all of our listeners. Every single one of you make this absolutely wonderful and worth it, worth every minute. So,
I love you.
Katie's
And
Katie's going to take the reins today, and we're going to talk about some things with her. So,
you feel better getting that off your chest a little bit?
a little bit, not really.
No.
It's life, though.
I know. It takes some time, but
Yeah,
I'm here for you, as always.
I love you.
I love you too. So yeah, I'm sharing about something today, or at least I'm putting this out into the universe to the podcast community because I want to hear your opinions. A lot of times we kind of interweave situations that we're going through onto our conversations into our conversations that I feel like other people might have insight on or perspective if they've gone through it, and I would really love your opinion. So the topic today is how to support um, someone who's going through a divorce where you have built this relationship with the soon-to-be ex-spouse and there's children involved. um, Lately it's kind of been like brewing within me, this like just discomfort and disappointment, because my soon-to-be ex has always been the family favorite and best dad in the world, best husband in the world. Like, I'm not here to talk shit about him. I really am trying to be careful about how I navigate speaking about the situation, but I can speak about my experiences and my feelings through it all. And I really find it hard to not be offended when people go out of their way to be kind to him rather than me in front of me and the kids. I find it really unsettling. And I don't know if it's like, I'm sure that people love him, right? Obviously, we've been together 10 years. But at the same time, I feel like it's a little bit of people pleasing. Like, I feel like at the end of the day, like someone is gonna have to choose a side. And I don't want to like make things worse or like, like make this a bigger problem than it is. But I'm also in my head, like, why is nobody seeing how inappropriate these things are for me going through this and witnessing it? And I'm like, it's like a knife every time to my gut. And I don't know. How do you feel about the situation? I know that kids make things more tricky.
Oh, things are always tricky, especially with kids, and kids make it entirely like a different dynamic. Um,
Hmm.
Without talking shit about people,
Yeah,
that's the toughest hurdle to jump
I know.
because so like you want to keep the toxicity out of it as much as possible for the kids, right? You don't want how do I say this without sounding terrible? There's always going to be two sides to a breakup or a divorce, two different perspectives, two different points of views. The issue I have with is loyalty, right? And I've had this issue in the past where I felt betrayed because my family did one thing with my my son's mom and didn't really. It wasn't even like they sought my permission because obviously, if it's their house and they're inviting her and my son over, it's their house and it's okay. And the biggest issue that I had was I just wasn't informed. That's my experience. Now, I'm not saying that they did that out of spite or anything like that. So the situations are kind of different. I don't think it's okay for, and like, not to pick sides, but like, I don't think it's okay for somebody to constantly be uplifting somebody else that has caused a lot of problems that don't have your best interests at heart and is two different people, one person to you and one person to these other people. The issue is that like I said, it's loyalty in my book.
Yeah.
Because if they were more loyal to you, they wouldn't be praising this other person. They wouldn't be praising them, and they would see the value inherently. And that's the issue I think that I would have, is that it's like, hey, look, like I'm doing all this. I'm doing a lot of work and I'm doing a lot of healing from this, but you're over here basically it's kind of like, I don't know, Stockholm syndrome, kind of like, hey, you're like,
Hmm.
you're praising the person that caused me all this pain and caused me all this heartache.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's like a knife in the gut, and I totally feel you on that. That's, and it's hurtful. It is. It makes you feel like your opinion and your perspective doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it makes it, I know it makes it very frustrating because in the moment you can't really do a whole lot because I mean the kids might be around and you're just trying to keep the peace, and that's not a healthy way to live at all. Like they
No.
should know, like, they're putting you in a tough spot. And as unintentional as it might be, it might be awkward for them, so, and that's their coping mechanism, is to just be nice to everybody, but some people don't deserve it, you know? And there's other ways. I mean, you don't have to be nice. You don't have to be like, "Oh, the best father in the world." You just go about the business. I mean, at that point it's a business transaction in my mind, and I might be looking at a
Exactly.
little, judging it a little dispassionately, but that's how you have to be sometimes, right, Katie? It's just,
Hmm.
sometimes you have to take emotion out of the equation and you just have to go through the motions. And as terrible as that sounds, I mean, it's not a great way to live, but it's just a temporary thing because once the divorce is final and settled and everything is kosher, yes, you're still going to have to meet to drop the kids off or to exchange the kids for a visitation. You're still going to have birthday parties. You're still going to have Christmases. It's still going to happen. That person, regardless of how you feel about them, is going to continue to be in your life. But that does not mean you have to be nice to them. It doesn't mean that your family has to be nice to them. Yes, they
Yeah.
will kind of always be your family because of the kids, but you can treat it more like a business transaction. Like you guys are co-parents, you're partners in raising those kids, but there should not be any emotion. There should not be any, like, oh, like you're the greatest dad in the world, or oh, you're the, greatest husband, or you're the favorite. Like, they should have your back. They should be loyal to you, you
Hmm.
know.
No, I
So
appreciate
yeah,
that. And I
that's my 2 cents
I like that you
for
brought
what
up the
it's
business
worth.
transaction because I had saw a video a couple weeks ago talking about co-parenting being like a business transaction or treating it like that. But
Right.
I feel like, especially if a relationship is strained already, adding a layer of me feeling like I don't have support that people say I do by the consistent demonstrations of praise and kind things, like bringing surprise cupcakes for, my soon to be ex and handing it to him in front of me. And I'm like, cool, like, what the fuck did I get? Nothing. Like, why would you come and bring him a cupcake? Like, I don't, it's something that's so small, but it's like in those small ways that I'm like, I end up in the kitchen in tears because I feel like I'm not seen, I'm not valued. But adding the layer of the lack of loyalty really does make me feel unsafe. wanting to have a relationship because I don't feel safe. And if I don't feel safe knowing that like you are not having my best interest in mind, then it's not going to help heal anything.
That's incredible. Yeah, like giving gifts like that. I mean, cupcakes might sound, you know,
Innocent.
innocent. Yeah, I mean it's food, whatever, but still it's the gesture. And that gesture is it's harmful. It's painful to you because yeah, not only are you not getting anything, but like that person went out of their way to do that for a person like I said who's been very painful to you, and I feel like they're just not even looking at your side. Like they're not hearing your point of view. They're not understanding what their actions are doing to you, and that's I mean that's just negligent. And if it's
Yeah.
family, that's painful because like your family is supposed to be there for you, and I mean, you and I are both the black sheep, so like it's it's tough for us to fit in with our family. And the worst part about it is that it's not even your fault.
Hmm.
You know, like divorce happens, relationships end, things happen to people, and they grow apart. And somebody that should be more mature than us is honestly being more immature and creating more heartache for you, and that breaks my heart. It really does because I don't think that's fair. And you're right. It's like how do you heal from that if it keeps happening? Like that's like saying, oh, like oh, I have a gunshot wound to my stomach, but I'm still, somebody's still jabbing me with a knife in that hole, and it's like how is it going to ever heal over? It's never going to
Yeah.
heal because you're constantly puncturing the wound. You're constantly creating more trauma in that area. And I mean, we're human. Like you have to have some separation, or at least like some, like I said, like treat it more like business than you know what it is. And that's man,
It reminds me of
that's
a
upsetting.
Taylor Swift lyric. Band-Aids don't fix bullet holes, and you say sorry just for show. Um, and it's so true.
Wow. Well,
I know.
T Sweezy with the
The mic drop moment.
with the
Um,
solid lyrics. Yeah, no, that's
yeah.
incredible. But this is the truth though, and the worst part about it is it's your family. So and it's hurtful. It's really really painful that it's it's incredibly difficult for sure. And I like the only relation I can have to a lot of that is I mean with my most recent breakup, I mean we shared a lot of friends, and I haven't really been like, oh, like you're still friends with my ex, like you're still, going to her bar or whatever. And I've never been like, oh, you're not allowed to do that. But I've seen the loyalty, I see the difference. There's a lot of two-faced people out there in the world. And
Yeah.
there are
Without a
people,
spine.
yeah, and that's the thing is like I get it, like I'm not saying that you have to pick sides. I'm not saying that you have to support me. I'm not saying that people that have been there since I can remember as friends aren't quite there for me, but I know that like they see her all the time. So I don't care. It doesn't bother me one bit because I'm out here doing my own thing, doing the best for me and becoming the best version of me without anybody else's help, without the negativity. I don't care. So the point is that loyalty is a very fickle thing. I think people are loyal to your face
Mm,
most of the time, or they're either loyal to whatever extent that they can get from you, right? So it's like,
yeah.
I'm going to have your back, but I'm only going to have your back when we're in person together or when I'm talking to you.
We're on
And
social
I'm only,
media, so other people
yeah,
think I'm, yep.
publicly, exactly, publicly. And then I'm only going to have your back as long as like you offer me something, right?
Hmm.
Something in return. The second you disconnect from people because not necessarily of their disloyalty, but because they're not being like a loyal friend or whatever, then you really see things like from a really good perspective. I've learned that in the last year. The loyalty thing, it's like, hey, like I don't expect you to cut that person out of your life. I mean, you're gonna see them, I'm sure,
Right.
especially if you live in a little town and all you do is ever drink. Like all you do is go to the bars. You're gonna see people. And that was the thing with like most of my relationships. I've had to either disconnect myself or take myself out of a situation to get away from it to see the truth, and it has done nothing but serve me the best. And I've learned a lot through it.
Hmm.
So that's the thing is like, I don't think people should be like 100%. Well, but then, I mean, no, fuck that. People that have your back are supposed to have your fucking back. They're supposed to
Yeah.
be loyal to you. Like, that's when you know you have a real friend or, family member, whoever it is, whatever
You have
case.
support. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like with Scott, with Hannah, they don't live here, but even if they did, like, I know for a fucking fact, like, those are my people because
Hmm.
they are loyal to me. They would not be entertaining anything that has to do with something that's going to hurt me or that has hurt me or has created any, like, I mean, discomfort or just, I mean, what broke me, and they
Hmm.
would be not doing things like that to create more pain and discomfort or to create any more doubt. They would be doing the exact opposite. And that's when you know like those are your people. Those are
Yeah.
your supporters. Those are your ride or dies. Those are your day ones. Whatever whatever term you're going to
Hmm.
use for them. Those are your people. And sometimes we have to go through life without that kind of support, and it's painful. It is.
It is. And a lot of times I have like brush things under the rug of like, well, I'm probably just overreacting, as I've always been told. I'm overreacting. I'm making things a big deal that aren't a big deal. And then when I, verbatim say what happened or, say what was said to me to a friend of mine who has also gone through divorce and, that was messy. Um, and then she says, "What the actual fuck? This is so inappropriate. How dare they?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, okay, someone finally can see like
So
it's
you're not
not
the
in
only
my
one that
head."
feels, yeah, yeah.
And
And
I
it's
think that we
true.
need
It
that.
is.
We need that outside like perspective of like, is this just me? Or like, do you see like anything I'm missing that I'm like misinterpreting? Like that makes such a difference for our mental health, I think.
Absolutely. And I had that a lot through the breakup. I would call Scott and I would be like unbiased. I would tell him the facts and he would be like, yeah, that's fucking dumb. Like, you need to get out of that, like, for sure. So, and it's the fact of like, I mean, everybody has their faults. Katie, I'm not perfect, right? I've done things, I've made mistakes, but I'm willing to admit my mistakes. I'm willing to go in depth about my mistakes with my support. And I mean, be dispassionate and be black and white and say, these are the facts. This is what happened. And yes, I've had a constructive criticism where they're like, well, I probably wouldn't have done that. Or, hey, maybe you should have done that a different way. Or, at some times in my life, I've let my emotions get the best of me and I've overthought things and I've had bad mentality, and I'm willing and man enough to admit that. I'm, willing to say I have made extreme mistakes, but
Hmm.
that does not forgive other people for being non-supportive and being distant or being cold or being, you know, or doing things behind your back. And that's a thing that I cannot stand. From a
Yeah.
friend's point of view, I cannot stand people that I thought were loyal come to find out they're doing shady shit behind your back or they're doing things that like they know would hurt your feelings. Like I
Right.
mean, they understand. And everyone's doing whatever's best for them. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has a fucking life to live. Don't get me wrong. Do whatever you think is right. But you have to take into account what your actions are going to do for another person, like how they're going to make another person
Hmm.
feel. And if you're not thinking about that, and if you're not taking that into consideration, you might as well be pointing a gun at the back of their fucking head.
Exactly. Yes.
So,
Um, no,
and I,
that's a really,
that might be
go on.
extreme, but it's the truth. I mean, you're stabbing that person in the back, and I'm not perfect, Katie. I keep saying
Right.
this over and over again. Yes, I have done things that may have hurt my friends' feelings, and I have done things that may seem like disloyalty in the past, and I have paid for it through karma. I'm sure karma is always going to come around, and maybe that's the reason why I've had a lot of disloyalty in my life. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Probably not, but we'll see.
But I think that's a good point because one of my friends, she actually said this the other day, one of my best friends in my membership, she had said, we are the type of women who, I'm going to have your back no matter what. Like if we get into a, example, like if we get into a bar fight or something and like, you're the one that throws the first punch, like I'm still going to be the one that has your back. And then like later on be like, you kind of fucked up, dude. Like, let's take
Yeah.
a look at this. But like that's what matters. It's like you are going to be that rock. You know that you have people that are going to be there for you no matter what, but also like call you out afterwards and like, listen,
And
you
be
got to fix
honest.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truth
Like
truth be told, I don't have a lot
not
of friends
faking.
that are like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I know, like I said, Scott, Hannah, I have some other people in mind. They would be like that. And yes, I have made bad decisions. I have done that dumb shit where I'm like, I know that this is toxic. I know that this isn't going to work out, but I'm fucking doing it anyway. And I've been down that
Fucking.
road. And yeah, exactly. And these people, some people will literally stand there and watch you go down that road and just be like, you're on your own. And then there's those people that are like, all right, let's go. Like they're lacing up their boots, they're getting their shit ready. And that's the people that you have to have in a lot of these extreme situations. But like you said, Dick, they're honest. They'll tell you when you're fucked up. They'll tell you when you're making mistakes. And
Hmm.
as stubborn as I am, because I am, I'm definitely a stubborn person. I keep making these same mistakes, and this person's like, "Ugh," but they're still there, right? They're like,
Yeah.
you're doing this again, really? Honestly, haven't we been through this? I'm getting tired of telling you, but I'm still here, and I'm still gonna tell you. So
Yeah.
those are the people we need, definitely in our
It's the
lives,
chosen family.
right? And here lately, it's been my chosen family have been like, hey, I mean, besides you, I mean, you are my
Yeah.
family. They've been like, hey, relationships just not a good option for you right now. You need to focus on your career because things are blowing up for me in a level that I had no idea was possible. Like doors are
Yeah.
opening, things are happening. And it's crazy because like I've said on previous episodes, I'm just sitting here and I'm just doing what I enjoy and things are just unfolding in a way that I it's unimaginable. Like I never thought I would be starting a training company. I never thought I would be purchasing land for a range, like actually building a private invitation only range. Like things that I've dreamt about for the last few years are finally just like they're right here, they're happening. It's like we're putting pen to paper money on fucking Target. So like a relationship right now is just not where I need to be. And it sucks because I want a significant other. I want somebody to share all this success with, but at the same time, I need somebody here, and I'm just not finding what I'm looking for. I'm like you said, you told me, hey, like this isn't a bad experience. It's a learning experience. You've learned about what you can and can't do, what you are willing to accept. I tried. Um, it's just not something that I think I can do. And I learned something about myself in the
Hmm.
process. And it's all about growth. And I'm growing. And these relationships are just, I mean, it's like we've talked about before, it's just molding my perfect, like my perfect like list of attributes or qualities in in a partner. And it's really honestly, it's a very humbling experience. But anyway, I kind of got off on a tangent there, but the point of the matter is like Scott and Hannah have been like, dude, just do it alone. Like, don't stop focusing on relationships. Like, you don't need somebody. You're fine. You're doing great. Like, you're killing it by yourself. And they're absolutely right. They're
But you are
100%.
lonely.
Yeah,
So,
lonely is whatever though, because I could just jump on my PC and occupy my time, or go to the range, take pictures, take video, call a friend and say, hey, let's hang out. I mean, there's like, like Elizabeth came over and we played Mario Kart for a couple hours and we talked, and like that was enough for me to not feel lonely anymore because she has my back, and she's one of those people that has had my back for a long time. So,
yeah.
and I can tell her anything and know that like she's gonna give me the honest truth. And she's obviously, like, you guys chop me up on a podcast, but
I love
you're
her.
gonna give me the yeah, y'all are gonna give me the hard truth, and whether I want to hear it or not, I have to listen to it because I respect
Hmm.
you and I respect your point of view and her point of view, and I can't see everything on my own.
Yeah.
That's why you need those supportive people in your life for sure.
Hmm.
But
I feel like I think that the last relationship of yours, I feel like all of my things are dying here, so we're just gonna like multi like
go through it.
it's Monday. Um, I think that it was like the right puzzle piece. It was just a different color than you needed. It's just like it's not quite the right thing yet. Um, which is hard, you know.
It,
But
it's it's difficult because I care about her. I do, um,
mhm,
and we have a very strong bond, and we like a lot of the same things, and the qualities of that perfect person are just quite like they're just not quite there, but they're there, and
mhm.
that's the shitty thing about life is sometimes the perfect person just isn't reachable, and
Oh yeah,
sometimes who you think is the perfect person isn't, and it's really, I really just kind of went into it with an open mind, and I said, hey, I'm going to try this because, and like I said before the episode, I've done the long distance thing before and it just didn't work out, man. We built a relationship on communication and creating like, or trying to bridge the creation of distance, like bridge that gap through intense communication and constant openness and being honest and being fruitful, like it, and forthcoming about everything. And then when we were finally together, like
yeah.
in person, it just didn't feel right. It didn't, I mean, there was still so much to learn about that person because, I mean, it's completely different dynamic of the relationship.
Hmm.
When you go from never seeing each other, and this was before FaceTime was like real big. I mean, we had Skype and stuff, and like I was on a deployment. Like it was just, it
Different.
was something that I just wasn't ready for. And when we came together, it was a different relationship altogether, and it didn't work
Hmm.
out. And like, did I love that woman? Yeah, absolutely. I loved her very much. I cared so much about her. And at the end of it, it got to be toxic, and I was like, I can't do this, and I had to, I mean, we both kind of agreed to break up and, do the whole no contact thing, and then we came back together, and then it was like we're still just not, it's not going to work out. Like we both
Yeah.
kind of felt it even after coming back together, and uh, so much heartbreak there. But it's the past, and I learned from that, and that's the
Hmm.
issue, is that I'm not sure building a relationship on just communication. Yes, it is a great way to create a stable foundation, but without like a solid plan in place of moving that relationship forward into the next level, like, and that's the same thing with like, getting married or moving in. If you're together for 10 years and you never move in together, like, or if you never take that next step, like obviously the woman, the man, I guess both parties would probably be like, well, why aren't we taking this to the next level, kind of thing. Like, so
Yeah.
relationships are hard. They're very, very hard. And I just don't have space for it right now. So,
I hear you. And I think that I guess to circle back and like bring this home, like I think my expectations of how I want my support group and my soon to be ex to coexist is like there's no reason for anyone to be texting each other if it's not like time sensitive, like, schedule wise. Like I say, hey, ask him because I don't know. That feels a little bit shady to me. Um, and then,
Yeah,
he's not going to be around for birthdays. He's not going to be around for Christmases. There's no reason he should be at a family function that's not his own. Like,
right.
unless it's a joint thing that we've decided on, not like, oh, well, we're going to have a birthday party. Let's have another cake for him too. And like, that just feels really inappropriate to me.
It
And
does.
I want to set the precedent like, no, I hope you enjoyed the gatherings that we've had, but like, that's done now. We can
Right.
move on.
Yeah, and I just don't understand the why. Like,
Yeah.
why are they still putting the effort in with the other person who is no longer part of the family unit? Like, you got to look at it as a unit. Like,
Yeah.
this person is now their own, they have their own family. And that's the worst thing about co parenting. It is a struggle to realize that you are no longer together in on this. It's more like two separate parties and you're meeting in the middle,
Hmm.
right? But the middle point should be for like you and him. Like there shouldn't be, like you said, there shouldn't be any back channel texting. There shouldn't be any, like gifting or like making that person feel special because, like, yeah, they are special. I'm not trying to downplay anybody's
Right.
perspective, but they're not, they shouldn't be as special as you are. Definitely
Right.
not. Like you shouldn't be on the same level or
No.
even further up the chain. Like that's what I'm getting the vibe that, like, yes, I get it. Like you connect with people and things happen and then you kind of have to fall out of that connection, but that's called loyalty. And that's the
Yeah.
problem is that person is not being loyal to you. They are not taking your feelings or what their actions are causing into consideration, not at all. And that's not fair to you at all. And
I think
like
it,
I can definitely understand why you feel the way that you do. Absolutely.
I love you and I appreciate your unwavering support. Um, I think there's also a layer of the discomfort that comes from mourning the loss of their own dreams for, what was possible for our family or what was our family, and that's not on me. Like, you need to work
Yeah.
through your shit.
Yeah,
Don't
and I get that
continue.
too, yeah. They were hopeful that it would be perfect forever, but that's
Yeah.
the problem is that, this is life. This is reality.
Hmm.
And as painful as, like you're saying, as painful it is to accept the fact that that is no longer the scenario, they still have to do it. They can't live in a fucking delusional dream world thinking that everything's still okay.
Right.
Absolutely.
And like thinking about it as like the person that is in my life now, from their perspective, like, how will someone else ever feel welcome or accepted in a family that's still bowing down
Doing,
to an
yeah.
ex?
Oh man. Whew. That's
Like,
scary.
I don't even want to be around family if that's the case, because I don't want to
Why
make the
would
other
you, yeah.
person feel uncomfortable.
Why would you want to put yourself in that situation? Absolutely. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Like, how would you, okay, let's put it on you. Like, how would you feel in this situation if you were the new person?
I mean, maybe slightly reluctant. I'd be like, oh, well, when they finally do accept me, at least they're going to be overly generous or genuine with me.
Yeah,
Yep, but that's no. I mean, that's me being like wishful, hopeful thinking.
super optimistic.
Yeah, optimistic about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, when I finally get to that point, that's I didn't even think about what it's going to feel like from that perspective, from his perspective, because I mean, if they're still treating the other party like they're, the best partner for you, and they're not clearly, and maybe that's I feel like there's a word for this. It's called favoritism, and I feel like that's being played a lot. And I'm just
I
gonna
said
throw
it
that
last
word
night
out
to my
there.
text.
It's just I'm just like, yo, like why is this being? Yeah, this is incredible. Um,
Yeah. And it also
and
is like what because it has been said that, because my ex and I have created these children, that he and I are both favorites. That was word for word what was said to me last night. But what is it showing the children? Like, if someone new comes into my life, like, how is that loving
so
and
now
supportive?
that person doesn't have a chance because you all don't have kids together yet,
Right.
or or ever will. Like that's but that person's there for you, and they should be valued at a level beyond the father of your kids because it's that's incredible to me. I'm trying to wrap my head around a good answer, but I don't have one.
I
The
know.
favoritism is not okay. They should be you should be their favorite. We should be the favorites. We're the kids. Like we're the ones that you fucking raised. Like we're the ones that you brought into this world. Like it should be us. This other person, yeah, as great as they are, or as great as you think they are, which like I said, everybody has their perspective, and for them to be still saving that space for that person, I don't think that's a good look for the kids at all. I think that's a bad look. I think it's like, hey, despite how people treat you, we're still going to reward them.
I think that in any situation where, your ex is going to be considered to be part of something, like reaching out and me like, hey, how would you feel if I did this? Or like, how would you feel if I offered to do this? Like, instead of just like,
Doing it. Yeah.
hey, we're gonna, have an extra cake for him at the birthday party, and we're gonna have a little birthday party for him too, or like I just feel like I'm not being considered and I am sick of it. I don't like confrontation, but at the same time, like I am a wordsmith. Like you put me into a corner, like I'm going to tell you exactly how it is, exactly like what you've done to hurt me, and I need you to listen and reflect on what you've done. Don't just be like, "I'm sorry." Like I want you to actually like marinate on it.
Right. And I mean, if there's no progress, like what's the
Yeah.
sorry for? Like if you're not trying to be better and trying not to make the same mistakes, but you're always saying sorry, like how empty is that? You know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing I've experienced a lot is like, hey, you're doing this and it keeps happening and I keep expressing to you, hey, you're doing this and all you have to say is I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. What do you like do you even know what you're sorry for? Like you're still doing what I'm telling you not like that's hurting me or upsetting me. Like you where is the growth? Where's the learning process here? Like you said, they need to marinate on it. They need to think about what they're doing and how not to do that moving forward. For
Yeah.
sure. And
And
that's
I know there's a lot of like gray area with it, and there's not like, textbook like right way to do things, but I think now that I've like said my piece and,
bullshit.
let it be known that we'll see
This
how
is
it goes from here.
Katie, wrong. I'm going to go ahead and tell you wrong.
Keep going.
Your divorce is not the first divorce in history, okay? This has happened before. People should understand how this works. Like it's not and it's this the worst part about it is it's not unheard of for you to feel the way that you feel. And it's not fair to you for people to constantly be ignoring that and putting their own like it's not her relationship. I said her. Oops. It's not
There's
their
more than one.
relationship. You know, it's not their relationship that needs like this is affecting, right? Yes, I get it. Like you have a relationship with your daughter's ex-husband, but it's more like like I said, it should be a business transaction from here on out. And some people are incapable of doing that. And but that's the thing. It's like why show love to somebody who's created nothing but heartache and problems for you? why would you want to love somebody like that? Yeah, I'll get it. Like he's the father of your grandchildren, but Jesus Christ, like it shouldn't be you shouldn't be praising that person because you're just showing the kids it's okay to love and be super genuous or genuous. Jeez, why do I keep saying that word? Super
Genuine.
generous to a person that has literally done nothing but cause problems and cause pain. You know, and
Well,
everybody
yeah,
has
and
the life to live. Like we're not here to talk shit about anybody. Everybody
right.
has their reasons for doing what they do, but that's the problem. Is like the loyalty is just not there, and it should be.
And even if you
Like
don't know what happened behind closed doors, just assume that this is for the best.
right, and stop doing things that are going to negatively affect the outcome.
Cause pain.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I have a
Well,
question for you. Is his family
yeah.
treating you the same? Like, are they sending you gifts? Are they constantly doing
I
wonderful
don't speak
things
to
for
them.
you? Right.
I don't speak to them at all.
Right. Out of what? Out of respect for him, right? Out of respect for what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Why
Yep.
isn't that happening for you?
I think
Why?
it's also a
And that's another
proximity
thing.
thing.
Why? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. So y'all live closer to your family. Okay. Well, but that's
Yeah.
the case. So I feel like it's being used.
Mhm.
Like he is using that, and like I said, we're gonna try not to talk shit. But from my point of view, from where I'm sitting, I feel like he's using that as a tool. Like he's using the generosity of your family and being like, oh, well, I'm the favorite, I'm loved, I'm cared for.
Yep.
Yeah,
And I'm just over here in my little corner of blackness
yeah.
as a family
Just
sheep. I
oh,
accept the
that's
role.
yeah, but that's incredibly frustrating because it shouldn't be happening. He should also be on the same page of, hey, we're in a divorce. I'm gonna stop accepting gifts from your family. I'm gonna stop accepting their generosity out of respect for you because that was his decision. He doesn't get the perks of being your significant other anymore. He doesn't. He shouldn't be doing that.
I know. I
It's
know.
bullshit.
Well, it's a new
That
chapter
upsets me.
and I'm okay with cutting people out of my life. It's just I don't want to have to do that because then it's going to hurt the kids. And it's like
Right.
how much do I put up with in order to keep their relationship good, you know?
Just the fact
So,
that you have to do that, that you have to make that decision. You have to let people hurt you for so that way your kids don't have childhood trauma, that your kids don't miss out on a relationship with somebody else. Like you are literally making a self sacrifice, and that speaks volumes of your character, Katie, versus other people. And I
I didn't
love
want
you
to
so
cry
very
today.
much. I know that hurts,
Okay, I have
but
your
that's the thing. It's like it's difficult moving forward when
without addressing it.
yeah without having those conversations, those hard conversations. Yes, they're difficult, yes they're emotional, and it might look like, oh, we're creating drama, but it's really honestly you're alleviating drama by
Yeah, you
having
have
those
to heal this.
conversations. Absolutely. And you can't run from it forever, and if you do, then it's just only hurting the kids. It's hurting, I mean, yes, it is hurting us, but it's hurting the kids in the long run because you
Yeah, and
want
it
them to
also,
have a relationship. You want them to understand that, like, you need people in your life. You do. You need support.
mhm.
You need family. And whether, you pick your family or not, like, that's besides the point. But you need the help sometimes, you know?
I think that like it also a lot of the reasons why I do the things that I do and how I do them is because I'm trying very hard or I've become very intentional with showing my children that when someone crosses a line with you that you need to stand up for yourself. You don't just like,
Boundaries.
slither back and be like, okay, I'll just take it. Like we need to be like, this was inappropriate. I'm not okay with this and we can't have this anymore. And by, people pleasing and accepting all the inappropriate things, like what is that teaching them? Like I have to keep them in the forefront of my mind, but it's also like a really tricky thing to navigate.
Right.
Yeah. Life is hard.
It, it's tough. Everything's a learning experience, right?
It is, it is. Well, I hope that this conversation brought some validation to others that are going through it, right? You might be in the thick of it and you're like, I don't, am I the only one that's experiencing this? Like, am I delusional? I mean, I am delusional to an extent, but like in this situation, I'm not. Like, this is, I know that this isn't right. And I know that like speaking up about it is going to, it might piss people off, but at the same time, good, good. Be pissed off because then something might actually change.
Sometimes you have to ruffle some feathers. That's the truth.
Aren't we so good at that?
And yeah, apparently. And that's the biggest issue that I've had is that I, I mean, I am who I am. I can't change who I am. Am I sorry for who I am? You're fucking wrong if you think that, because I'm not. All I can be is me, and all I need is me. But the point of the matter is that if people are doing harm to you and without change or without any reluctance whatsoever, like sometimes you just have to cut them out of your life. Sometimes it's best for you to just go at it alone. So, and
Yeah.
that's a tough choice to make when there's kids involved. The toughest choice to
Hmm.
make because you know
Well,
your decisions affect other people and they do. And some people are just oblivious to that. Like, how do you not know that what you're doing is affecting other people?
mhm.
It's incredible to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's tie it all up. I hope
Hopefully, good
that
things are
I
happening.
provided some insight. I'm not. I mean, Katie, I'm your biggest supporter. You know that. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm gonna tell you that you're fucked up. I'm always gonna be here to give you constructive criticism with love because I know
Yeah.
that you would do the same for me, and that's the respect. That's a respect thing. People don't understand
Hmm.
that. You have to be able to tell people when they're fucked up out of respect for them because they need to learn too. I need to learn. If you tell me a hard
Yeah.
truth, Katie, what do? I'm like, ah, geez, you're right. Most of the time, like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and that's the hard thing to do. It is. It's hard to tell your friends they're fucked up. It's hard to tell your family, hey, what you're doing isn't okay. It's not acceptable by any means. It needs to stop.
Yeah.
But it's up to them to listen. It's up to them to hear what you're saying and to understand that they're hurting you.
Yeah.
So, and if they're not doing that, then it's the toughest thing of all because then it's the really hard choice of, well, then now you're losing your privilege, your access
Yeah.
to me.
Yep.
So,
Well, I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I also have my guard up. And I don't, I've done that for so long. I know what that's like. It's not, new to me, but also it doesn't feel great. Um,
we don't want to do
it's
that.
just, no, but I'm really happy with how my life is falling into place and, other areas where I feel super loved make up for the places that I don't feel super loved. And, you know, balance.
Balance, right? Sometimes you have to lean on that other source to get through the
Yeah.
days and that's where I'm at. You know, like I want a relationship. I'm ready for a relationship. I'm just still looking for the right one,
Yeah.
you
In
know.
this chapter of your life as you are evolving.
Right. And until I find that perfect relationship, I'm not going to settle. I'm not settling. We're not settling. This is something that we've
Yep.
accepted and we've
We vowed
pledged to the world, to the universe.
to each
We're
other.
not accepting what's not for us, and that's where I'm at. And
Proud of
with
you.
everything else going on in my life, I don't need to settle.
Yeah.
That's the fucking thing. Yes, I get lonely. Yes, I get tired of doing the same things in and out, day in and day out.
Yep.
But I'm not trying to settle at the same time. I'm not trying to accept what isn't for me.
Hmm.
So because then, 10 years down the road, I look back and I'm
In
like,
10 years.
oh man, there
Fucked up.
goes 10 years. I should have been doing this instead. So, and there's
Yeah.
that. Or 3 years, 3 years. Some people
It's a
say
lot.
that 3 years isn't a long time, but 3 years is a long time. Because 3 years ago, if I had made different decisions or made better choices about who I allowed in my life and what I was doing, man,
Yep. Look a lot different.
where I would be today. Because in three
Hmm.
years from today, Katie, I'm gonna look back and I'm gonna say the same exact thing. Wow. And I hope to God I'm
For the
looking
better.
back and saying, oh wow, I'm glad I made those choices 3 years ago. I'm glad
Yeah.
that all of those wonderful things that were going for me continued and I chased them and I pursued them and I made things fucking happen because
We're doing it.
just wow. Like
Yep.
I spent the better part of my weekend. I was like, "Oh, I'm going to do a bunch of things this weekend." And honestly, most of the weekend I spent video editing and looking at new content and new media for primary arms and I'm just I'm incredibly in awe of what I can do with a camera now.
Yeah.
Just in a few months of learning, and I will be gone next weekend out on a private range doing my thing, and you have
Okay.
no idea how happy just that makes me. I don't
Mm.
need a relationship because I am increasing my happiness every day, day in and day out, just in my
Yep.
own life with my own
Amen.
hands.
I'm proud of us doing the
I'm
hard
proud of
things.
us.
We're
I
going
love you
places.
so very much.
I love you too. Thanks for editing this. I have a big meeting tomorrow, so and yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone. It's been
Editing.
great. Hopefully, you if you just come over and tell us how you feel about this episode, because I think there's going to be some thoughts and lots
There
of
are.
opinions, but you know what? We can take it like it is.
I hope
Oh,
everyone has a wonderful week. Tune
we'll
in
see you
every
next week.
Tuesday. We're here. We're talking about the hard things, and if
Yep.
you guys have anything you want us to talk about specifically, hit us up on Instagram and TikTok and our website, and
All
let us
places.
know. Give us that feedback. We love it.
This is
That's the
another
point.
bonus of the Patreon community too. When we start to do those virtual hangouts, like bring your opinions. Like let's talk about it. Let's dive in. Like really hash it out in a loving way. Like, wow, I never even thought about it that way. Like that's really cool. I want to
I'm
learn more
s-
about that.
I'm really excited for those hangouts. To be honest
Yeah,
with you. So,
we got a book one. Okay. Well, I
but all
love
right,
you.
guys. Love you. Have a great week. We'll
You
see you on the
too.
next one.
You got this.
Bye.
Bye.